Good day, Internet.
Good day, Internet.
What's going on, Internet? I know it's not Thursday or Friday, my normal day.
What are you doing
But
here,
it's
Robb?
Tuesday. I'm just here hanging out, doing, going to do a little tech show.
Well, it's good to have you. I know you're going to be traveling at the end of the week, so a little bit of a calendar change up, but boy, is it fun to have you on a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We're still feeling fresh.
Yeah, I was debating on whether or not should I. This is my Friday because I'm done. I'm
Do you wear
done.
a hat or not?
When we get done, at the end of the show, I'm done for the week. So I was like, shit, I've worn a hat, but no, it's like I want to throw the mojo off, so we'll just save my hat until next Friday, next week when I'm back.
I mean, hats are encouraged and always appreciated. I think that we decided Hat Friday was a thing, but you can wear a hat whenever you want to. In fact, I've worn hats quite a few times on the show where I was like, you know what, bad hair day. It's hat day.
Oh, Sarah, you're making me want to go grab a hat. I don't have any clothes.
Well, I don't either.
I don't have any clothes.
Did you think I was going to grab a hat just then?
I thought you were going to grab a hat. It's like, if she comes back with a hat, it's like, I can't be out hatted. I put the edict out there. I won't be out hatted on DTNS.
No,
so
you certainly won't.
My wife is working from home today. Hey, can you go grab a hat? Then it'd be like, well, which one do you want? I don't know. What color do you have on? Black. You have 4 black hats. Which one do you want? I don't know. Just grab one.
Well, the nice thing is when you're wearing black, then any hat matches.
That is true.
That is true.
White, same thing. Black and white pretty much goes with everything.
Indeed. Or gray or, yeah. This morning at my local corner store, my one of the favorite guys that works there, we just like talk and hang out. He helps me practice my Spanish. And he's a big fan of Adidas, just the brand. Mm-hmm. He's always got a new Adidas t-shirt or a hat or both. And this morning it was both. I was like, you're Adidas top to bottom. And he was like, oh, yeah. Have you been to the new outlets? And I was like, no. Where are they? And I don't know. It's like somewhere near me. But I've never heard of them. And he's like, it's great. You go to Macy's, you have to buy a t-shirt for $40. You go to the outlets, you buy the same t-shirt for $10. I'm like, yes, that's why people love outlets. You can get a good deal at these places. Now, Robb, I know, as a bigger person and me as a smaller person, sometimes outlets fail to work. I'm like, they don't have anything in my size.
So
everything's too big for me, or
I can generally get shoes from outlets because the outlets, more so than the actual stores, tend to have the bigger sizes because I wear a size 15 shoe. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to go to the outlet stores, and we have an outlet that is probably within 15 miles of where I live. It's just like one exit north going towards Cleveland from where I live. And they've got a couple of shoe stores in there that I have been able to get shoes from, but clothes, it is impossible for me to get clothes unless it is like, if it's an outlet for a big and tall place, then of course I could get stuff there. But if it's not that, like, Macy's or you just like regular, Penny's outlet, I'm never getting anything in the outlet there because those clothes never make it to the outlet. They actually get sold in the regular store for the, in this particular case, 400% more.
Yeah. I have to assume you're familiar with Oddball, the big shoes and socks company.
I'm not actually.
Oh, you should. You should be. You should be familiar with them. Amos, I don't know what your shoe size is. You don't have to tell us. I'm a size 6, sometimes 5.5 women's. So little tiny feet. But no, Oddball is like, it's for my mostly male friends who just have big old feet and are just like, you know what? I want cool sneakers and, dress shoes and all sorts of stuff. It's this company run out of Portland, which is very popular.
I'm looking it up now. Oddball shoes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We get bookmark.
I'm like, size 15. I think you need to know about that.
Yes. Bookmark is like regularly have sizes 17 to 18 in stock. Yeah, that's a place that I need to know about.
I'm in the middle. I wear 12 wide, so like I can't find the shoes I need. But then these start at 14. Forever unavailable.
Yeah, so I rarely am even able to find shoes at like a DSW or something like that. It is just difficult. They may have a pair of 14s in the store, or they'll always have boots. I can always find 14, size 14, size 15 boots in a DSW, but that's it. Regular shoes, I have no recollection of buying shoes at DSW in probably the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bummer because they have nice shoes.
Yeah, they have great shoes. There's actually a DSW down the street from me. Yes, I cannot I can't pretend to imagine what it's like to be like, my feet are too big. None of these shoes will fit, because I'm always like, these shoes are too big. I'm just shuffling around like a grandmother, like these shoes are too big for me. Except the Dorothy shoes I bought a couple of weeks ago, which are too narrow for me. So go figure.
Yeah, so you're probably right in that little gap between like the bigger kid sizes and the smaller women sizes, because that's where my
100%.
My
I wear
daughters and my
kid
wife
shoes.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, those
Which is
look
funny
mature enough.
because-
They don't have cartoon characters. I'll get those.
Well, I mean, I used to shop at Old Navy Kids. There just isn't one. I don't even know if Old Navy Kids exists anymore. Probably does somewhere, but like I would shop there, and people were like, "You don't shop at Old Navy Kids." I'm like, "Yes, I do. It's way cheaper and it fits."
1 minute.
The world is not designed for women between 4'10" and 5'4". Just not there.
Yeah, a
Unless
really
you want
really
to be a
good
gymnast, then they love you.
family friends. Actually, it's my younger siblings, god siblings. But so that's kind of weird. But yeah. But anyway, she's only 4'10" and maybe 100 pounds, and she has to do the same thing.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Well, big or small, we're glad to have you all with us for our DTNS Live Preshow. Good times. It is such a weird Tuesday. It's me and Amos and Robb. Wow.
Yeah.
And Joe. Well, Joe's always here. And we love you for that, Joe.
Yelling at us in the background.
Have a good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Columbus, Ohio, I'm Robb Dunewood.
And out of nowhere, I'm producing the show, and I'm Amos.
DTNS Live is made possible by you, the listeners and the viewers. Thanks to all of you, including Chris Benetow, Jeffrey Zilks, Adam L, a.k.a. Alo, and our brand new patrons, Action Deep, Alice, and Tirumala.
All right, you know what?
We had 3 difficult names today.
Yes, good work, Robb. We are on such a roll with new patrons, and this just lights up our life. So thank you to all of you who have joined the flock, and welcome everyone wherever you are. If you're watching, you're listening, maybe you're live, maybe you're after the fact. The show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Now, Amos, I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen you. How have you been?
Busy. Very busy. Yeah.
Busy in a good way?
Oh, I mean, we all know my wife was underemployed after some jobs got canceled in the government earlier this year, so I had to pick up some other jobs, and I'm currently on my 3rd job since I started working back in the workforce again. So it's been a wild ride, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Well, good work ethic. I think it's a good skill to have, right?
You sound tired. You sound tired.
Well,
I like how Amos is like, yeah, so I've been working a lot.
I have 3 jobs. I just cranking away. I don't like the stereotype very often, but I found amongst my male friends there is a singular drive amongst married men that when times get tough, we just get working. Like we can put everything, all the home drama and everything else aside, and we just get the work done to feed the family. And it's interesting to have those conversations with friends that I never knew had similar struggles as what I've had recently, and it's been pretty awesome. So go team.
Go team. Yeah, well said. Well said. Robb Dunewood, how's everything going on in the Columbus area of Ohio?
Rob's about to go on, not a vacation, but Rob's about to start having some fun in about 57 minutes. This is why I'm on Tuesday and not on Thursday and Friday, because Rob is about to get out of Dodge, and get out of town, and go have some fun.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, for anybody who's like, wait a second, don't we not hear Robb normally until Thursdays? This is a cray week, everybody.
Yeah.
We're just, we're throwing curveballs at you left and right.
If we would have asked people, it's like, who will be on the show on Tuesday, they would have definitely got you, Sarah. You're here every Tuesday, but they would have said Robb and Amos and Sarah. That is, it's not a impossibility, because this happens regularly, but it's on a Tuesday. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's
rare for a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. This is DTNS Live, the show where, of course, we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. And if you are watching or listening live, you can help us name this episode. Starts right now. Head to dtns.showbot.tv to submit titles and vote on them throughout the show as we talk about a variety of topics. We'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show and crown a winner. All right, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye today. Google launched Genie 3, a new model that can generate and maintain interactive 3D game-like environments in real time. Genie 3 now supports several minutes of user interaction, remembers spatial details like the color of paint on a wall or chalkboard text, and runs at 720p and 24 frames per second. Users can prompt things like weather changes. They can also add characters within the world. Genie 3 is, though, limited to a small group of researchers and creators for now, so you can't get it if you just want to casually check it out, but it does exist. Also, Anthropic unveiled Claude Opus 4.1, which it says upgrades agentic tasks, real-world coding, and reasoning, adding that Claude Opus 4.1 improves software engineering accuracy to 74.5%.
The Genie 3 stuff sounds really cool to me, because as someone who plays games a lot, we're getting to the point to where you're playing the game and the world just generates itself as you are playing the game. That's essentially what Genie 3 is doing. So when this comes to the Xbox or PC gaming or the PlayStation or what have you, games are going to look a lot different than they do now, because you literally can have a game that is kind of like you're creating the game as you're playing the game. When you might be, you go off and do a quest or something like that, it's based off of what you're doing, and how you react to the world. So I think this, this is really cool, and I can't wait to see that next level of game to where you don't know how the game is going to end, because it literally is generating itself as you are playing it, at least generating the world as you are experiencing your avatar within that world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take this back just a touch. This is 3D rendering in real time. If you play top-down, 3/4 profile games like I do, it would even be more powerful than what it can do in 3D, because there's just less processing in general. So you can be more creative and establish more things. This is really exciting to me for that reason.
The Gemini app has a new feature that allows you to create illustrated storybooks with read-aloud narration for families. Users can prompt Gemini to explain complex topics, teach lessons, animate artwork, or transform memories into adventures. After a text preview, Gemini generates a 10-page book with art and audio and a customizable Canvas-style interface offering various art styles, shareable links, and downloadable options. It supports over 45 languages on mobile and desktop.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, Robb, this would be something like, I don't have my own children, but let's say, my niece or nephew are over at my house, and we're like, okay, let's make a book based on, a super cat, and the cat has a best friend who's a squirrel, and then, the squirrel is friends with the police department. Like, you could make whatever kind of book you want. That's the idea, right?
I think it's that. I think it's also like you could be out in the world. Here's what I thought in my mind. You're out in the world with your kid, and you see, an artifact, or you see a statue or something like that. You take a picture of it, and then you have this Gemini app generate a story based off of that. So it's kind of like you can now, right there on the fly, get information from the web and actually have Gemini generate a 10-page storybook that you can actually have a conversation about. Like if you're in St. Louis and you see the arch, here's the arch and here's how it was built and those kind of things. That's kind of what I was thinking. But both of those options are really cool. The fact that you can just generate, storybook, comic book style books right on the fly is kind of impressive.
Well, yeah. So yeah, you could go like pure imagination, or it's like, yeah, maybe we as a family had a really fun day today, and the kids can't stop talking about the arch, and you can make a book out of that could incorporate just fun kid stuff. Listen, I having read lots of books to kids over the years, anything that they like, well, let's do it.
I'm going to take this one step further again. If you're deployed and you have family stuff going on back home, now you can have stories made about those issues or about those memories to share them with your kid on the limited time that you have to talk back to your children back at home.
Oh, that's pretty cool too.
I could see this being really awesome. They put in the prompts about what their day was like, good, bad, or otherwise, and then Gemini creates a story, and then you can share that story, and you're both discovering the story at the same time. So it's not like you're creating the story; you're discovering it with your child as you go through, and you're learning about them, the prompts that they can do, without them having to just tell you about their day, because kids are notoriously bad about that.
Right? Yeah, they sort of go like, "How was school today? Fine."
Yeah.
Was it fine?
Yeah. So, I mean, as a communication tool in general, but especially, I'm always thinking about the military families, but as a conversational tool in general with parents and kids, I think this could be great.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. Roku announced something called Howdy, a $2.99 per month ad-free streaming service with a catalog of more than 3,000 films and TV shows, plus some Roku originals like Weird, the AI Yankovic story. Howdy will be available only on Roku devices for now, its website and its mobile app, and appears to offer mostly older titles, and which is why it's $3 a month rather than, $10 or $14.99 or some of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're looking for a good archive of movies and TV shows, you can't beat the price, and you want to go ad free.
So here's the thing. So is this the same content that you get with ads right now for $2.99? Because it sounds like when it says that the content,
no, it
seems
not.
like that's what you already get. So is it different stuff?
It's different. They have deals with Paramount and Lionsgate and I think a few other studios that are specifically to Howdy. So this is not just I want an ad-free experience on Roku. This is something unique that Roku is like, you can only do it on our devices. It's $3 per month, so we're undercutting other folks. But this is more kind of legacy content rather than new stuff, besides some of our originals, which will also add to this.
Okay, I don't know that I'm paying the $3 to go see the Weird Al story. And I was like you. I read
story,
it.
Rob. Good story.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool. So it's just interesting to see that the fast companies are now saying, hey, maybe we can generate some ad revenue. Or not generate ad revenue, but maybe we can generate some non-ad revenue by actually charging people a fee. So we will see if it'll work.
Indeed, we will. And I also just realized that I called it the AI Yankovic story, even though it's Al, because when I see the words A and either L or I together, I just tend to go to AI these days.
How our world has changed.
I am sorry. I know you're listening. I am sorry. I did not mean to call you AI Yankovic, although there's probably a really good AI Yankovic.
I guarantee you're not the only one, because how our world has changed, and not even the last 3 years. It hasn't even been 3 years yet we've been talking about this stuff. And AI now is just what you say whenever you see those two letters together, regardless of whether one's an L.
At least it wasn't the A1 Yankovic story.
Which would be makes hamburgers taste like steak burgers. Okay, It's great. I don't know why people don't like A1 steak sauce. It's great. All right. So before we go into any more food talk, those were the top 3 stories that caught our eye today. Let's move into some discussions in a few. Illinois has become the first U.S. state to ban AI, not Weird Al Yankovic, AI, from providing therapy. So Governor J.P. Pritzker signed HB 1806, which prohibits AI chatbots from acting as standalone therapists and also bars licensed professionals from using AI for therapeutic decisions or communications. The law lets AI be used for lots of other things, scheduling, billing. That is not a problem. It's specifically about healthcare. Violations beyond that, beyond those kind of secretarial stuff, carry fines of $10,000 per incident. The bill passed unanimously in the state of Illinois. People are, they were like, yep, you're not going to be my therapist. You are a chatbot. I wanted to open this up to the group because, so just to be clear, this is not about, if I use, ChatGPT, which is running on macOS right now on my computer, to ask it, hey, I miss my dog right now who died recently, what can I do to pep myself up? There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's in trouble for doing that. OpenAI is not in trouble, for providing that sort of thing. If I am a healthcare professional, a mental healthcare professional who is providing services to somebody who is, paying me money for that service, I cannot use this sort of stuff in lieu of my own expertise. That's the new law.
I agree wholeheartedly with this, just because I don't know that these systems are there yet. And what my gut tells me is that eventually there will be some type of service that somebody, the organization will say, we are doing this well enough that we should be allowed to do this. And they'll go back and lobby the government maybe to get an exception. But I think at least at this point, we don't want to have you're thinking you're talking to a licensed therapist. You think you're talking to a clinical psychologist. You think you're talking to an actual psychiatrist, a medical doctor, and you're not. You're talking to a bot, or you're sending, you're doing telehealth, and they're not even answering the question. You just put a question to your healthcare professional, and they just type it into a bot and then spit the answer back to you. Mm-hmm. That is not a good thing, and I can see horrible things coming from that. So I am with this law. I'll reiterate. I do believe that at some point this stuff will get good enough to where someone will challenge the law. They'll try to get an exception, but I think right now, I don't think we're there.
I wonder how this gets enforced. So for example, going back to my dog, because that's all I think about these days, but I use a veterinarian service that they do kind of most of their back and forth on an app, between visits, and 24-hour concierge service. But you're basically chatting with somebody, right? And there have been times because I've been using them a lot lately, where I get a response and I'm like, "Are you a bot?" And I've even said that. And right away, it's like, I'm not a bot. My name is Susan Collins, or whatever it is. And I'm like, Are you though? I don't know. And it's not that I think that the care was in any way diminished in my particular case, but the fear that some people have, either through their own experience or just hearing about the stuff, is you're going to get bad advice if you're really in need of mental health attention. Mm-hmm. And if you get bad advice that's not from a human who is, has all the credentials, needed to help you, then, things can turn out not well. So I get that. I do. At the same time, it's like, gosh, if I were a psychologist and I was trying to get through to somebody who was a patient, and I'm not, so this is very hypothetical, but maybe it's like my wording wasn't landing correctly. Could some of these tools actually work to help me help my human, patient who's, there to get knowledge from me? I don't know that it's always a sort of like always bad, always good situation.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, I believe that it is like, okay, well, here is the psychologist that actually, here's what I'm going to write my 3 paragraphs because I'm answering this question, but I don't spell well and I probably could use some better words. So maybe they take what they've actually written and then run that through Grammarly to just kind of spruce the language up. Mm-hmm. I don't know that this is that. Maybe it is.
No,
maybe this
no.
law. So I don't think this is that. I think this is where someone says X and Y and Z and Roman numerals 1, 2, and 3 and A, B, and C and 7, 8, 9. And then you just take exactly what they said, put it into a bot, and whatever spits out, you send that back to your client. I believe that is what JP Pritzker is saying. No, you cannot do that. And if that's what this law, in fact, is preventing from happening, I am all for that because I just don't think the AI is there yet, that it is good enough yet. And here's the other part of it. I hate to always go to the seedy places of the internet, but people are going to do this. There are folks who want to be therapists who haven't gone to school for it. There are folks who want to be psychiatrists that have not gone to medical school for it. And they will try to actually use AI to scam people in this way. So I think that the further you can get the medical professions and in this particular case, the mental health field away from this, the better, until the systems are medically proven to be good enough to actually give advice. Like I said, mm-hmm. I don't know that I would ever be a candidate for it, but I do believe at some point they might get good enough to where they can actually perform that. I just don't know that that's today.
First of all, I want to know if Susan Collins spelled her name with 3 L's, because that might be a symbol, just like extra fingers in the pictures.
I'm sorry to all the Susan Collins out there. That just came to my mind. You're all wonderful people, and you're not scamming mental health patients.
Yeah.
But yeah,
where's the gray areas here? Because if they're obviously they can't use it to provide the advice itself, but can they use it to compile notes and to find trends in their notes and things like that? Like
that is exactly my question.
Because that would be really useful. Say, oh, this person every 6 months has a pattern of, oh, now they're really sad again. Okay, well, I might not see that if I'm going through 15 pages of notes, but AI can go, oh, hey, yeah, every 6 months they get really sad. Maybe you should look into that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the way that the law is written, which I read, it's a little confusing, to be honest.
Right.
It's like, yeah, if you use it for anything that's not about, mental health specifically, it's just, you got to process payment, you got to bill the patient, you got to, schedule their next appointment. Oh, that's fine. But you have to be a doctor 100% of the time, the rest of the time. And if you don't, and you're found out, then we're going to fine you. I wonder how this is going to be enforced. I really do. I think that, like you said, Rob, I think this is a well-intentioned way to go. It is. Mm-hmm. But how are we enforcing this?
Where's the line?
Yeah, and I would have to imagine that, the $10,000 per fine is probably going to be somewhat of a deterrent. But the also thing, I would imagine that if this keeps happening, you may have been a licensed professional at some point, but if you keep doing these unethical things, your license might be taken away from you. So I think that could be potentially a deterrent from actual licensed professionals shirking their responsibility and using AI to do their job.
If they find out you're doing it, that's like the discovery process of how you discover this clinician is using AI to help with their patients.
Yeah, it's and in some cases, is the patient like, you know what? I don't think I'm talking to a human right now. Yeah. I'm going to report you. Anyway, early days. So if anybody has deep thoughts about this, and I know some of you do, write us feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. All right, so continuing on the AI train, because we can't avoid it, AI note takers have become so good that sometimes they capture candid stuff that was never actually meant to make it into the summary of someone's meeting. So, Rob, tell us about this.
That's right, sir. So these AI-powered note takers are, they're right now, they're really good at just capturing everything that you say. And, have you ever wondered that if you've got one of these turned on, what is it actually getting? So I'm just thinking back to my days when I was doing a lot of meetings, and you're sitting in the meeting. So now you're using something like Zoom's AI companion or Microsoft Teams or Google's Note Taker or any of the myriad of other tools that do these type of things. And you're just having a casual conversation at the beginning of a meeting. You might tell a joke that you wouldn't tell to your client, but you're having, this is an inside joke with your, with your coworker. Maybe you're just ordering lunch or something like that before the meeting gets started. And when you get your summary that gets sent to everyone, it has a compilation of all of that stuff. So these automatic summaries, they include unintentionally hilarious, embarrassing, or miscontextualized personal comments never meant for the general audience, revealing fascinating privacy challenges and such. So this stems from an article that I read over on the Wall Street Journal. It was talking about, a woman. Her name is Tiffany N. Lewis, and she was having a correspondence with a potential client, somebody that she would collaborate with, but the person that she was talking to was very elusive. They weren't like responding to emails. She kind of thought that maybe it was a scam, and then they asked, "Hey, can we set up a meeting?" She's like, "Yeah, sure." Now she's in the meeting before they show up with her coworker, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't know, this is kind of sketchy. I don't know if they're going to show up because they haven't responded to any, to any correspondence." And she actually said, kind of like, I don't know if it's a Nigerian prince or not, if they're running a Nigerian print scam on me. That was actually picked up by the AI. So at the end of the meeting, once the person showed up and they had a great productive meeting, the AI summary generated a summary, and it included her comment about maybe they are a Nigerian prince. Now, fortunately for her, the client that she was working with kind of saw the humor in it, but that could have potentially ended a relationship if that would have gone the wrong way, or you just said the wrong thing. So I just kind of thought about this. I have done literally probably thousands of hours of meetings in like a Microsoft Teams or, in Zoom or whatever over the course of my career. This AI stuff is kind of new, and you probably do have to train yourself to just act a little bit differently in this, because as soon as you turn it on, you're on, and everything that you say can be memorialized.
I mean, I think there could be people listening to your story, or the story, of the woman who talked about the Nigerian prince, in jest, but ended up becoming part of the notes. Like, well, just be careful about when you start the meeting notes. But when you're working with a variety of teams and a variety of people are running those meetings, it's hard to get it right, 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. I have definitely been on, I guess particularly Zoom, it's sort of at the beginning of COVID, a lot of my in-person meetings became Zoom meetings, as many of us used, a variety of tools, but, Zoom being the one that I used the most. And yeah, I mean, we would, a few of us would be on there while we were waiting for everybody else, just talking about, shooting the breeze. And I mean, nothing that was like, oh, I'm going to go to jail for this, but, just stuff where it's like, yeah, this is friend stuff, mm-hmm. not professional stuff. You don't do this in the meeting once the real meeting starts. So I guess I would just caution people to just remember that, everything you say can and will be used against you.
What we need to do is we need to have a Joe built into all of these things. So for the folks who don't know, our producer, Joe, who's not on screen right now, the moment we go live, he tells us you are now live. And then the moment that we are no longer live, he tells us we are off all the things. And this is something that he does for every single show that we do. And mm-hmm. it helps, because sometimes you're having a conversation and you're not saying nefarious stuff, or you're just saying stuff that isn't necessarily for the public. And so it makes sense for you to know when you are doing it. So if you're using a Microsoft Teams, I would just have to now just assume that whenever I'm on Teams, whatever I'm saying is being recorded. In fact, I haven't used Teams in a while. I'd like to know, does everyone see when the AI note taking is happening? Does everybody get a notification of that?
That's a good question.
Because I don't know. It's been so long since I've used Teams. I don't know if that's the case, but I would want to see a visual indicator to let me know that, hey, Teams is now journaling everything and memorializing everything that you're saying. When if you're in that particular application, or any of these applications that do this.
Get Pull Alexander says, yes, I saw it today. So Hopefully that's a positive indication that everybody gets to know that the notes are being taken. My question is, most of the meetings that I've been in have been larger meetings, weekly production meetings and things like that, where all the actual work gets done in the side conversations. The main part of the meeting is basically just reason to get everybody into the same room so you can, have these side conversations that actually get the work done. Are these note-taking apps going to be able to capture those and differentiate between the side conversations and the main point of the main meeting notes? Because that might be a place to delineate some of these off-color remarks or whatever.
And,
I don't know.
And like I said, and we jump to off-color remarks, like you're saying bad stuff. It's not that. You're saying stuff that isn't necessarily meant for the summary.
It's not relevant.
So, and I think where maybe the AI is struggling, and as these things get better, maybe this is a problem that solves itself as the AI gets better. But it's kind of like, we're talking about our favorite movie right before we talk about something else that had to do with movies. And the first part of that conversation was just out of context. It didn't have anything to do with the second part of it, but the AI doesn't know that. So when you get the summary, it's like, oh yeah, we were talking about, Pirates of the Caribbean and, which one was better, this one or that one. It has nothing to do with the meeting, but it's just now, I don't want to call it AI slop, but it's additional AI, created stuff that if the goal was for you to have a summary of your notes, you've got this extraneous stuff that is part of your summary that kind of makes the summary less effective. So I think that's how I look at it. Not that you were just saying nefarious stuff. Like I said, the Nigerian prince thing is kind of funny and the other person got to it, but you could say some things about a client that you didn't want them to know. You might be talking about how you're going to close or where you're going to move strategy or something like that. That is not nefarious. It's just not something that you wanted them to know and be privy to. Because the tool you're using sent out notes to everybody when your meeting ended.
Or you have a meeting, but during that meeting you're talking about another meeting because you got off on a tangent somewhere or whatever else. Like
right. Like even if it's not going to be offensive to someone later, it could just be confusing.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about another client while you're at a client, waiting for the client to show up in the room. I wasn't.
Or you're talking about one client and then something happens. Yeah, you're talking about one client and then something happens, and you're like, yeah, just like the other client that happened. Just like when the Jones Oh yeah, and then it wraps back into this conversation, but that is not necessarily something that needs to be part of the meeting, right? Because it would have just flown. That was, interpersonal context to get one person through the rest of the meeting that didn't need to be part of it. Yeah, there's a lot of situations where this is going to be troublesome.
Part of this makes me laugh a little bit because it's like, listen, if you're in a meeting with one person or 10 people or 20 people or whatever, it's like, that just needs to be the one person who's like, I'm giving receipts. I shall take all the notes of everything that I've heard. And so this is not really unlike that.
And that person is like, oh yeah, the AI gets everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not doing something that wasn't possible already. It's just that much easier for someone to be like, wait, what's this paragraph about? From our meeting notes.
And it's different than a recording where you could cut out the beginning of the conversation. This is a summary of the entire conversation, so it interweaves it in. It may try to make a correlation between something you said that was not part of the actual meeting and something that was said in the meeting and stick that down in the notes, and you can't just go and bring that out.
Yeah. Well, if you have any thoughts on this, and my gut says you do, join our conversation in our Discord, which you can join by linking to a Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS. All right, Amos, I feel like it's been forever since we've been together here on the show. So in that vein, you are bringing us something to take us back down another memory lane.
Yeah, I recently bought a computer, and in my experience shopping for a new computer showed me that the average new desktop is going out the door with 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive, maybe slightly smaller for the SSD drives. Well, SanDisk just rolled out a massive 256 terabyte NVMe SSD built on what they're calling the Ultra QLC flash system, geared towards cloud and enterprise setups that can crave serious storage density. Great. The technology is going to trickle down to the consumer level. That's how these things work, which begs the question, how much digital storage do we actually need in our lives?
Oh my gosh, this is a conversation relevant to my interests. I was just having this conversation because, okay, so I have an iPhone 15 Pro Max with a 1 terabyte hard drive.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yes. And I had not gotten an iPhone since the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I believe. I did not get a 14. So I had the 13. Friend of mine was, had like a much older iPhone and was just sort of like grumbling about it all the time. And I was like, why don't you use this? I might want to turn it in eventually and get some money. But for now, I've got this new phone. Use my phone. And they were like, you have 256 gigs of storage on this phone. Like, how do you even live? and I was like, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I guess I just use so much cloud storage that it has never been an issue. Although that seems really low to me now. Back in the day, that was so much storage. Yeah. And that's a mobile phone.
I'm just remembering back in the day for me, like 1990, 91, when I went off to college as a young lad, I am taking old CompuServe and AOL disk and wiping them so I don't have to go and buy the floppy disk. These were 1.44 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes back in the day. And you got 5 of those. I remember having like this little hard case shell that you could put 5 1.4 megabyte 3.5 inch disc into. And if you had 5 of those things, you had all the memory in the world that you needed. And today I'm sitting here thinking, it's like I've got 1, 2, 3 SSDs plugged into my docking station. And the only reason I don't have the 4th one that's sitting right here next to them plugged in is because I don't have any more USB-C ports. So a NAS device probably with like 5 terabytes is probably not in my distant future. So yeah, it's just data
but
just expands.
256 terabytes. I mean, I think we can all be like, for personal use. Come on, who needs that?
Wait, you said 256 terabytes? I thought you said gigabytes.
Terabytes.
256 terabytes. Oh wow!
On a single SSD.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So
which is
I currently
listen, if you do tons of video or even photography, really, just stuff that's just going to take up a lot of space. It's like you're going to need stuff like this. I mean, this is awesome. I feel like there are, especially myself and people like me who are like, I have a variety of external hard drives. I have them all over the place. They're good in a pinch. But I kind of like not having everything in one place. If I were to say like every photo that I've ever taken in my life, every document I've ever signed in my life, everything is on this one big hard drive. In a way that feels like, all right, I know where everything is. No more clutter. Yay. But it's also scary because it's like you're putting so much faith into that one place.
On my local drive, on my local computer, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive internal. I've got a 4 terabyte that just holds my pictures. I've got a 16 terabyte that holds video renderings and video projects, that kind of stuff. All that gets backed up to whatever Backblaze or whatever service I have. I don't even know because it just works. Then I have 2 NASs, one for work and one for personal that the whole family uses. And they're both about 25 terabytes of usable storage. I don't have enough storage in my life. I need more, and I'm just one person. Now I'm probably on the more extreme side of things, but I'm hoping that this 256 terabytes of hard drive or of storage on one device, I don't need all that on one device, but if we can start getting some SSDs that have 20 terabytes on each one at a reasonable cost, which is really the big improvement here, is this is going to start, once it trickles down, it's going to start pushing prices down for the stuff we currently have. Give me 4 20 terabyte drives that I can put on my NAS upstairs, and run it in RAID and just have that backup. Yeah, that sounds amazing to me.
I remember the first time I was at Best Buy, and I had to buy an external hard drive. I don't even know why. And it was the first time that there was like a 1 terabyte hard drive that was just sort of on sale to consumers. And I didn't buy it that day because I didn't need that much. This is a long time ago. But I was like, 1 terabyte? I mean, what is happening right now?
what's
And now
crazy?
it's like, I mean, 1 terabyte is like, I mean, I could put this in my back pocket. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
And this is 2 terabytes, in fact.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that probably before the end of the decade, we'll be regularly talking about petabyte drives. And, definitely in the next 4.5 years, somebody's going to have a drive's got a petabyte on one drive with 1,000 terabytes on one drive. I see that coming. So it's it's crazy.
You start to see petabyte stuff now. In fact, somebody the other day was like, "What is that? Like a name of a dinosaur?" I'm like, "No, it's storage." It's a petabyte. I just out of curiosity, because I've had my Mac Mini for under a year now, my new Mac Mini, and I was like, what do I even have on this thing? I have used, so it's a 500 gigabyte hard drive, because, I was cutting some corners, and I also use a lot of cloud storage. I have 357 gigabytes available. I do not use a lot of local storage, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, I do for some stuff, but it's like so much cloud storage, which has its own host of problems, of course. I'm not saying that that's the right way to go, but yeah, I don't even know what I would do with a terabyte hard drive. Well, except
I'm
the
definitely
ones
on
that
the
I
cloud
have
storage.
in my desk.
I have, I use Google Workspace and I have upgraded my cloud storage there probably at least 3-4 times over the years, to where I have right now. I feel like I have more than I'll ever need, but once again, it's not a petabyte, and I think that we'll have petabyte drives here in not too distant future. So I can see that going up as well.
Yeah, and again, my excitement isn't for having 256 terabytes on a single drive. It's the fact that once you get that big, when the 128s are coming out with it, and once you can get that big, then the prices with the smaller stuff will start to decrease, and then that makes it more achievable for us to have massive storage.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who use WhatsApp, and I know many of you do, the company is rolling out a new safety overview that appears before you join unknown group chats. Everyone knows that it's like a group chat that you're sort of like, who is this? Why did I get invited? What's it all about? Showing when the group was created, who invited you, and how many members it has. This is all stuff you can figure out. This is more of just a, hey, before you even get involved in this group, here are the deets. Do you know these people or don't you? The goal is to help users spot potential scams and prevent incidents like fake job offers. That's a big one on WhatsApp. Crypto schemes, another. The feature builds on WhatsApp's broader anti-scam efforts. The company's been working towards this for a while because there is a lot of spam and scam on WhatsApp, including context cards and new prompts that warn users before chatting with, again, those unfamiliar contacts. Now, Rob, I know that you use WhatsApp quite a bit. So how often are you invited to a group like this where you have to be like, who is this? What is this all about?
It's pretty regular. It is pretty regular. So if you do anything with the communities and stuff like that on WhatsApp, you'll see this stuff all the time. So I get the notifications. Hey, somebody's inviting you to this. I would say that I probably ignore 99% of it, but I use WhatsApp quite a bit. It stems back to back when I was working in corporate. I actually had a team that was based out of Cork, Ireland, and then everyone in Europe. WhatsApp is what they use primarily. So I would say that I probably send more individual text messages via RCS at this point. But when it comes to group messaging, it is by far WhatsApp. I mean, I am in various WhatsApp groups darn near every single day. If it probably is every day that I am responding or answering a question or even getting a direct message from someone in WhatsApp. So it solves a big problem because there is a lot of spam out there. You see somebody's name. Oh yeah, I know them. And you get on it. It's like, what was this? And it's just kind of like you're not in the mindset when you first join it to actually go into it. You just join because you got the invite. And it's like days later, why do I keep getting all these notifications for this crazy stuff that I don't care about? And you've got to go figure out what group was that from?
Yeah.
Why am I in this group in the first place? Those things are real. So I believe that this is a good feature for those who are using WhatsApp. Not so many folks in the U.S. at this point. Actually, I should reiterate that. There are a lot of folks in the U.S. that use it, just not like those who use RCS or use iMessage. So, so we are, I don't say we're catching up, but we are using it here. But when you go overseas, it is the primary way that people communicate. So this is a good feature.
I only use WhatsApp to talk to Rob.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that being
So,
said, I think this is a great
stay
idea
above
for
board.
Yeah, I think
don't
this is a
invite
great
each
idea
other
for
to
all the
weird groups.
platforms to have this kind of information given to you right from the start. And then also have it available to you for your review later. Like, hey, what happened here? Oh, that's right. I got invited on this date, this person, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's a great idea. The people that aren't going to like this are the people that are trying to spam and spot, get you
Right.
to do
Yeah,
stuff.
they're like,
So-
"Aw, you make my life harder." I don't have a ton of. I don't use WhatsApp on a daily basis because I do have some friends who use it specifically, exclusively, but not too many. I would say 5 people that I know and care about talking to regularly are on WhatsApp. But a few months ago, WhatsApp. I mean, I think it already had the desktop app, but I ended up installing it for macOS because I was like, yeah, I'm sitting at my computer. I don't need to, get phone notifications all day. Like WhatsApp stuff can just come through my computer. Once I did that, and I don't know why, I can't really make a correlation, but I started to get a lot of WhatsApp spam. Every time I would open up the app, whether it was on my phone or my desktop, it would be like, yeah, maybe it's one of my friends who sent me a text like 3 weeks ago and I didn't see it because, I thought she was going to send it over iMessage. But then just kind of, weird groups. And I'm kind of like, it's not hard for me to be like, nope, don't understand that group. Nope, don't need to be on a group text. 200 people? Nope, not doing it. But I know a lot. WhatsApp turns into not just sort of like, oh, we're on a group text about a party. It's news, information, and gathering and sharing. And so there's that kind of stuff. And that I think plays into this as well is, some of the stuff is just, it's purely spam designed to be something that you're supposed to be reading.
Yeah, this is a American thing. We just don't use it like this, but you can make WhatsApp look almost like a X threads or or threads, or it can look like social media because you're looking at news stories, you're looking at you're looking at stuff from the New York Times there, you're looking at stuff from the Washington Post there. It can actually feel almost like social media in the way that you use it. Now, I don't use it that way, so like you, Sarah, it's pretty easy to group of 200 people in it. I don't like talking to people that much anyway. Let me go ahead and not join that. But for folks who do use it that way, I think this will be a very, very good benefit to them.
All right. Well, we all think it's a good idea. Sounds like across the board, we're all cool with it. If you have thoughts on this, you might say, hey, here's why it's not a good idea. Or you agree with us all that much more. Remember, always send in your comments, your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, your aspirations to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And of course, if you are a patron, you can comment on anything we post to Patreon as well.
So, folks, while we've been doing the show, you've been submitting your titles over at dtns.showbot.tv, and we've got a bunch of submissions over there. So we're just going to start here. We'll go right. I'm going to go to the middle. So the Wraith 86 post, AI. Oh no, you don't. That is the first one that caught my eye. And then also, Sarah, this is an ode to you, AI Yankovic by GPEG84.
Fred 819 also had a A1 steak Yankovic, which I enjoy. Listen, A1 sauce is so good. I don't care. You all, anybody who hates on A1 steak sauce, you can't sit with us. Yeah. Get out of here.
Techno Mention's got a good one. New app, who dis?
Every day.
The problem with A1 is A1 knows what you said in the meeting.
Yes. A1 is like, no, you said that you wanted A1 steak sauce on your hard-boiled eggs. No, I didn't. No, you did. You did. You just didn't think I was listening yet. Mm-hmm.
Well, Sarah, what did we decide to go with today?
Oh, Rob, I'm glad you asked. G. James S.B. Came up with reasonable storage isn't.
It's a good one. It is a good one because
makes you think, doesn't it?
It is not reasonable anymore. It's like, who needs it? And I said 5 terabytes like I was doing something. I didn't mean 5 terabytes. I meant 500. But because it's like 5 terabytes, that is literally a movie. It's in 8K. But yeah, it's crazy where the storage has
But isn't
gone.
that fun? Like only a few years ago, if you had said 5 terabytes, that's a movie, people would be like, no, it's 5 gigabytes. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because it was like HD, 4K, 8K. We just keep making it bigger.
DVDs held what, like 8.4 gigabytes, something like that, 4.7 per side.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I know a few weeks ago we talked about computers and like what everyone's first computer was, but I was just thinking, I was reminded that I have some nieces and nephews that are going off to college. Actually, I've got 3 nephews going to school and 2 nieces going to school. So I get the questions because I still think that I'm everybody's tech support. Hey, what should I be getting for school? Now, for the most part, it's pretty easy. Just get them a MacBook Air. There's like some really good deals on MacBook Airs right now. But one of my nephews, like, I don't want a MacBook. He's like me. He's like, I don't want a MacBook. He wants like a giant Asus 17-pound laptop that he can play games on.
Yes.
And I'm trying to tell him, man, it's like, I know you're a young, strapping fellow, but you do not want to carry a 5-pound or 6-pound laptop across campus with you. It's like, it's like those things are meant to be set down, opened up, and you play the game where you are. You're not walking back and forth to class with that. And he's got an answer for everything. That's what I got an iPad for. And I'm like, okay, well, do what you can do. So, but yeah, what do you guys recommend for, because this is the back to school time. What do you recommend that college students should be looking at as a PC or a Mac or Linux device if they are just really trying to be different? What do you guys recommend?
I'm gonna go. I know people would normally think that I'm gonna go with the big Apple option here, but I'm actually gonna go with the Walmart option. Walmart's got some decent i5 laptops for about $400 that will get most high school students through high school.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I know because that's what we did with all of our
high
kids.
school
We
and
bought them
college.
Yeah, we bought them the laptops, about $400 worth at Walmart, and it worked. And now they've all upgraded themselves to the MacBook Pro, so that's less in my pocket because they bought those themselves.
So I know a lot of folks, especially folks listening to this, just like, have them get like a MacBook Pro and max it out. But if they are creating content or something like that, or they are a gamer and they need the Asus, they're probably already doing that and have something they can take. I'm talking, for the kid that was using the Chromebook until their senior year, and they're going away and they had to turn that Chromebook back in. So now they need something to go off to college with. What do they get? And even though I am, I'm not an Apple person, not because I'm anti-Apple, I just really like PCs. But I do think that if they've got an iPhone, you might as well just go ahead and get it. Just get a MacBook, because you can get a MacBook Air so inexpensively right now. It used to you used to definitely pay an Apple tax on stuff. That's just really not the case anymore. These things cost the same amount as PCs cost, or in some cases they might even cost less than a comparable PC, and they're really, really good pieces of hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I would say my gut reaction was like, get a Mac Mini. And then just buy whatever monitor you want. You can, right now I've got a 34-inch monitor from Dell. Thank you, Dell. Very nice. They didn't give it to me for free. I paid for it. But, it's nice. But you can use whatever monitor. But this is not a thing that you pack in your, your school bag and go to class with. And when I was in college, just a couple years ago, of course, but then it was like I had a computer in my bedroom, in the apartment I shared with 4 other people, and that was great. But like I didn't have a laptop. We didn't do that. We weren't there yet. Yeah. So the idea of kind of setting somebody up for like, this is your like fun office space. I think the younger you are, the less that makes sense to you. Until you get a job where you're like, yeah, I need an office space. I need a dedicated room. I need a computer that doesn't get packed up all the time. Otherwise, you're on the move. You're on the go.
And I'm thinking particularly for like if you're an incoming freshman, Mac, a laptop makes sense just because you can't take that Mac Mini to study with you. You know,
No.
you're kind of
You
know,
could, but that would be insane.
it would not be practical to walk around with a monitor and a Mac,
No.
in a Mac Mini in a backpack, and you've got to set it all up when you are sitting down getting coffee or something like that. So for those purposes, I think a laptop makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, if you're one of those people that still has the mindset that computers are too expensive, I mean, I know not everybody can afford $400, but most of us can, especially when a student can use it for multiple years. And they're not great. They're not great laptops, but they'll do the job and they'll get it done, and they have all the access to all the programs that they need. So, yeah, there's something for every budget out there.
Indeed. All right, Amos, we got some people to thank today, don't we?
We do. We got PC Milesy cheered us on with 100 bits, and then Technobench came in with 5 more, and then of course Zoe came in with her 4 bits for the day. In addition, we got a raise from Timothy.
Aw, Timothy gave us a raise on Patreon, and even though at the top of every show, we're so excited to have new patrons. The patrons who stick with us and give us raises help us know that we're doing good work, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Timothy, and everybody who has stuck with us all these years.
So, folks, if you would like a recap of the week's tech headlines with insights into how technology affects and disaffects African Americans, check out the Tech Genre host, yours truly, Stephanie Humphrey and Terrence Gaines, dive into the top tech stories of the week, delivered from points of view you don't always hear in mainstream media. New episodes launch every Tuesday afternoon. Find it wherever you get your podcasts, or visit the Tech John. That's the Tech JAWN.com.
It's a good show, everybody. Do subscribe and like. You'll like it. You can also watch us live or listen to us after the fact or even live. We give you all the options. Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC is when we are live. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. We're back doing it all again tomorrow with Scott Johnson joining us. Hope to see you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.